My girlfriend tried to pressure me into buying her a beach house by threatening to leave, so I helped her pack her bags and kicked her out. I'm 34M and am still processing everything that happened over the past few months, but I need to get this off my chest. My now ex-girlfriend, 31F, and I had been dating for 3 years, living together for the past 2. Everything seemed great at first. We shared similar interests, had great chemistry, and genuinely enjoyed each other's company. But as they say, money changes people, and boy did it change her. Last year, I received a substantial inheritance from my grandfather. He was a smart investor and left me a considerable sum, enough to set me up for life if managed properly. I didn't tell many people about it initially, not even my girlfriend. I wanted time to process everything and make smart decisions about the money. When I finally told her about it, 3 months after receiving it, her entire demeanor changed. At first, it was subtle. She started talking about our future together more frequently, dropping hints about marriage and how we should invest in our relationship. I wasn't opposed to the idea of marriage, but something felt off about her sudden, intense interest in our future. Then came the beach house conversation. We were having dinner one evening when she casually mentioned how her friend's boyfriend had just bought them a vacation home. "Wouldn't it be amazing if we had our own beach house?" she said, showing me listings on her phone. The prices were astronomical. We're talking multi-million-dollar properties. I explained that while I had inherited money, I wanted to be smart about it. My plan was to invest most of it, maybe buy a reasonable primary residence, and ensure financial security for my future. She seemed to understand, or so I thought. Over the next few weeks, the beach house topic kept coming up. She'd send me listings multiple times a day, talk about how we could rent it out when we weren't using it to make money, and constantly bring up her friend's beach house. When I continued to decline, her behavior became increasingly manipulative. She started giving me the silent treatment, making passive-aggressive comments about how I didn't value our relationship enough to invest in our future. Then she began threatening to leave if I didn't show my commitment by buying the beach house. She even went as far as to tell her friends and family that I was withholding money from her, painting me as some sort of controlling muzzer. The final straw came last week. I came home from work to find her sitting in our living room with printed photos of beach houses spread across the coffee table. She had already contacted real estate agents and had appointments scheduled for viewings. When I expressed my frustration about her going behind my back, she delivered her ultimatum. "Either you buy us a beach house, or I'm leaving," she said, arms crossed. "I deserve this, and if you really loved me, you'd understand that. I've already told my friends about it, and they agree. If you can afford it but won't buy it, you clearly don't care about making me happy." I stood there for a moment, looking at this woman I thought I knew, now unrecognizable in her entitlement. 3 years of memories flashed through my mind, but they were now tainted by her recent behavior. The manipulation, the emotional blackmail, the attempts to shame me into spending millions on a property I didn't want. It all crystallized in that moment. "Okay," I said calmly, "if that's how you feel, let me help you pack." The look on her face was priceless. She clearly wasn't expecting this response. Her mouth opened and closed several times before she found her words. "You can't be serious?" she sputtered. "After everything we've been through?" I walked to our bedroom and pulled out her suitcases from the closet. "Everything we've been through? You mean the 3 years where you pretended to love me for who I am, only to show your true colors the moment you found out about my inheritance?" She followed me, her voice rising. "That's not fair. I've always loved you. I just think we deserve nice things, and you're being selfish." As I started placing her clothes in the suitcase, she tried a different approach. "Baby, please. I'm sorry if I came on too strong. We can talk about this. Maybe we can look at cheaper properties." I continued packing, unmoved by her sudden change in tactics. "There's nothing to talk about. You made your position clear. It's either a beach house or you're leaving. I'm just helping you follow through with your decision." That's when she revealed just how far she'd gone with her entitled behavior. She pulled out her phone and showed me social media posts she'd already made about our future beach house. She'd even started a wedding planning Pinterest board and told her family we were getting married. "Everyone's expecting this now," she said smugly. "What will people think when they find out you're choosing money over our relationship? Your own family will think you're horrible for leading me on. I stopped packing and looked at her. First, we were never engaged. Second, I don't care what everyone thinks about how I handle my inheritance. And third, my family knows exactly who I am and how I feel about financial responsibility. She tried one last manipulation tactic. I already put down a refundable deposit on one of the properties, she admitted. I used our joint account because I knew you'd come around once you saw how perfect it is. This was news to me. I immediately pulled out my phone and checked our joint account. Sure enough, there was a $5,000 earnest money deposit made 3 days ago. What she didn't know was that I'd been planning to close that account anyway after noticing her recent suspicious behavior. I'd already transferred most of my money out, leaving only enough for regular monthly expenses. You do realize that's illegal, right? I said, my voice deadly calm. You made a real estate deposit with joint funds without my consent. I could press charges for that. Her face paled. You wouldn't dare. I'm your girlfriend. Not anymore, I replied. And you have exactly 1 hour to call and cancel that deposit, or I'm calling the police and my lawyer. She burst into tears, but I'd seen enough of her manipulation tactics to know they were fake. When she realized I wasn't falling for it, her entire demeanor changed. The tears stopped instantly, replaced by cold anger. You think you're so smart, she sneered. I've been taking screenshots of our joint account for months. I'll tell everyone you agreed to the beach house purchase. It'll be your word against mine. I pulled out my phone and played a recording of our earlier conversation where she admitted to making the deposit without my consent. Her face went from smug to shocked in an instant. After learning about the inheritance, I'd started recording our conversations as a precaution. My gut had been telling me something wasn't right, and I'm glad I listened. You recorded me? That's a violation of my privacy, she shrieked. We live in a one-party consent state, I replied, and given what just happened, I'd say I was right to be cautious. She stormed off to make the call to cancel the deposit, cursing under her breath the whole time. I continued packing her things, making sure to separate any items we'd bought together. I could hear her in the other room, alternating between sweet-talking the real estate agent and threatening them with legal action when they explained the deposit return might take a few days to process. While she was busy with that, I sent quick messages to my family explaining the situation before she could spin her own narrative. I also posted a simple relationship status update on social media. Single. Nothing dramatic, no details, just that one word. Within minutes, her phone started blowing up with notifications. When she came back, she was furious. The deposit will take 3 to 5 business days to return. You need to transfer money into the joint account to cover any upcoming bills. No, I don't, I said. I've already paid this month's bills. The joint account can be closed once the deposit returns. You have your own account for your personal expenses. That's when she played her final card. My name is on the lease too. You can't just kick me out. Actually, I can, I replied. I've already spoken to the landlord. Since I've been paying 100% of the rent from my personal account, not our joint account, he's willing to remove you from the lease. You have 30 days to find a new place, as required by law, but I strongly suggest you start staying with friends or family immediately. She threw everything she could think of at me. Threats of legal action, promises to change, accusations of emotional abuse, claims that I owed her for the years she spent with me. When none of that worked, she switched to bargaining, offering to sign a prenup if we got married, suggesting we look at cheaper properties, even proposing we just take a break and revisit the beach house discussion in a few months. I stood firm. The deposit needs to be back in the account within 5 business days. You have 30 days to get your remaining things out of the apartment. Any communication about these matters can go through my lawyer. I handed her my lawyer's business card, another precaution I'd taken after the inheritance came through. She spent the next hour alternating between packing, crying, and trying to negotiate. I stayed calm and focused on helping her pack her immediate necessities. Every time she tried to engage in argument or manipulation, I redirected her back to the task at hand. Finally, her sister came to pick her up. As they loaded her things into the car, I overheard my ex trying to spin the story, painting herself as the victim. Her sister, to her credit, just kept saying, "We'll talk about it at home." Over the next few days, the fallout was intense. She tried to turn our mutual friends against me by claiming I had promised her marriage and the beach house, only to cruelly pull the rug out from under her. But her story kept changing with each telling, and her previous social media posts about surprising her with a beach house contradicted her claims that I had promised it. The real estate deposit was returned within the promised time frame. I immediately closed our joint account and documented everything. My lawyer sent her a formal letter outlining the lease situation and property division process, which helped prevent any further financial entanglements. She made several attempts to contact me through mutual friends, each time with a different approach. One day she was apologetic, claiming she'd had a wake-up call. The next, she was threatening to expose me to potential future partners in our social circle. Her friends started reaching out too, trying to convince me I was being too harsh and should give her another chance. I held firm. Any communication attempts were directed to my lawyer. Within 2 weeks, she had found a new place to live. She sent her brother to collect the rest of her things while I had a friend present as a witness. Everything was documented and photographed to prevent any future claims about missing items. The most satisfying moment came when she tried to tell people that she broke up with me because I was financially controlling. Her own social media history showed her bragging about the upcoming beach house purchase and planning a wedding that was never agreed upon. Several friends called her out on the contradictions, and she ended up deleting most of her social media accounts. In the end, my careful documentation and calm approach paid off. The lease was successfully transferred, all property was divided without legal issues, and the joint account was closed with no complications. My ex's attempts to manipulate the narrative failed because she couldn't keep her story straight, and her own social media posts contradicted her various versions of events. It's been a few months now, and I'm relieved I trusted my instincts about documenting everything. The inheritance wasn't just money, it was a revelation of character. It showed me who really cared about me versus who saw me as a means to an end. I've since invested the money wisely, bought a reasonable house for myself, not a beach house, and I'm taking time to focus on my own goals. Looking back, I realized the inheritance revealed her true character, and her reaction to my boundaries showed me I made the right choice. Sometimes the greatest gift money can give you isn't what you can buy with it, but what it shows you about the people in your life.